We have really sandy soil here in New Jersey, so concrete can settle. So to fix that, we're going to pin the new slab into the foundation with 3/4 inch rebar. The rebar and concrete are strong enough to support the entire weight of the slab. So even if the ground keeps eroding, the slab won't sink. You start by marking the edges and the center of the slab. We're installing 3 rebar, one in the middle and then 2 that are 16 inches on center. You also need to measure 3 to 4 inches down from the bottom of the door to mark the top of the slab, and then down another few inches to mark the center. These marks are really important because you want the rebar to fall in the middle of the slab. If it's too close to the top or to the bottom, the concrete will be thin and weak and eventually it'll crack. Once the marks are done, you drill holes into the foundation that are about 3/4 of the thickness of the wall deep. This is 8-inch block with 1/4 inch of plaster, so we're going to drill in the holes 6 1/4 inches. The best tool to use for this is a hammer drill. A regular drill will work too, but it's much easier if your drill has a hammer setting. Pinning the slab to the foundation like this ties them both together, so the slab can't settle or pull away if the ground keeps eroding. We're using 2x6 lumber because I want the slab to be stronger than the typical 4 inches. An extra inch of concrete will help support the slab if the ground continues to erode, which I pretty much expect it to do. I'm going to pour the new slab right on top of the old one and use it as a base. The whole point of pinning a slab like this is so that it's fully supported even if the soil erodes and the base washes out. So I don't really need to remove it and pour a new base since it's all just going to sink anyway. When you set the forms, make sure to pitch them forward about 1/4 inch per foot so water drains away from the house. Use a level and tape measure to check the forms as you build them. The best way I know to get the form square is to measure from corner to corner on both sides. When the forms are square, the measurements will be the same. Building the forms perfect is really important because the concrete will take the exact shape of the form when it dries. So if they're not level, square, and pitched correctly, the slab won't be either. Once the forms are done, we cut all the rebar. Remember that the main rebar should go into the wall 3/4 of its total thickness, and it should also sit at least 2 inches back from the outer edge of the concrete. Next, you have to install horizontal rebar 16 inches on center, right on top of the rebar you just hammered into the wall. These should also sit at least 2 inches away from the edges of the slab. This slab is 48 inches wide, so I cut the rebar at 44 inches. That gives me 2 inches of concrete between the end of the rebar and the edge of the slab. This space is really important because if the rebar is laid too close to the edge, the concrete will eventually crack because it's too thin. When the rebar is done, you can start mixing the concrete. For a job this size, I use bagged concrete. It's not worth it to call in a truck or to mix it myself for such a small amount. When you fill up the form, make sure to get concrete under the rebar so they stay in the middle of the slab. You can't use chairs to keep the rebar up for this type of work because if the ground underneath washes out, they'll be exposed and that could cause the rebar to rust. Use a concrete puller to move and jig the concrete as you work. This settles the mix tight against the forms and it removes any voids or trapped air pockets. If you don't jig the concrete, you could end up with honeycombing inside the slab, and that'll make it less dense and much weaker. That could be horrible for a slab that's pinned like this because we can't rely on a strong base to support the slab since it eventually is going to get washed out. You should also bang on the sides of the forms to get the concrete to settle as tight to the form as possible. Then when you remove the form, you'll have a really solid and clean edge. When the forms are full, use a screed or a really straight 2x4 to screed all the excess concrete off the slab. Rock the screed back and forth as you pull it to remove excess water and push the stones down so you'll see a cream start to rise to the top. Then wait until you start to see the bleed water rise up and then evaporate before you start troweling. If you see any low spots, add some more concrete and then trowel it smooth. When the slab is dry enough, apply a broom finish and shape the edges with your edger. You can tell if the concrete is ready to be finished when all the water has evaporated and you touch it in a few spots. When you touch the surface, it should feel firm and you should leave an imprint, but it shouldn't feel wet or soupy. When the finish work is done, let the slab cure for a few days before removing the forms. Technically, you can walk on the slab in 24 hours, but I like to wait a little bit longer just in case. When the forms are removed, that's it, you're all done. If you pin the slab correctly, it'll stay in place even if the ground underneath it erodes away.